All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to Chicago Bears Daily. My name is Jackson. I post daily Chicago Bears content, so hit that like button, hit that subscribe button if you enjoy. Today, we're reading an article from Sam Monson out of PFF.com, and it's basically just the first power ranking heading into this upcoming season, or I guess I should say after week one of preseason now being over. I have pretty low expectations for the Chicago Bears. However, Sam Monson's probably my favorite writer at PFF.com. I think he's going to give them more credit than a lot of other people do. So let's just get right into it. If I had to guess, where I have Chicago being power ranked out of 32 teams, I want all of you guys, if it interests you, go ahead, drop a comment down below your answer. I'd go probably 25, and I want to keep it at 25 until we see regular season football, because I think the Bears could get up to like 20 right out of the gate. I think they could also fall back to 30 right out of the gate, but I'm more hopeful for the 20. But let's go down. So this should be interesting. I really should just scroll all the way down and go from there, but these are teams stuck in limbo. They're rebuilding, so we're at 30 now and there's nothing. 31, yeah, so that's kind of tough. This has been the running theme, though, all offseason, basically. Ever since I started covering the Chicago Bears this past, May or June, this is all I've been seeing. Now, granted, it makes sense. You have completely new management. You have completely new coaches coming in. A whole bunch of just new personnel, players, staff, just everywhere. Top to bottom, there's a bunch of new faces here. So the Chicago Bears are definitely in a rebuilding stage. The Roquan Smith situation sucks right now because Ryan Poles and them, they're it's a difficult situation because you're thinking, he's our best player on defense by far. He's the best player. He means a lot to Chicago, but at the same time, he's not one of our guys. We didn't draft him. We didn't trade for him. We didn't pick him up in free agency. We have no personal connection with Roquan Smith. We didn't draft him. So it makes sense from both sides where it's why would we pay him all this money when we haven't seen him play in our system? And then it makes sense where it's we should pay him because he means a lot to Chicago. He's just like Chicago Bears culture. He means a lot to the fans. The fans, both sides. Roquan Smith just means a lot to Chicago Bears fans, so we should pay him. So I can see both sides to that story. Now, as far as Ryan Poles being a first-year GM, I like the moves he's made thus far. I like how aggressive he was. I think you're literally a Larry Ogunjobi signing away from a complete shift from a lot of the naysayers. I genuinely believe if Larry Ogunjobi didn't fail his physical and was currently a Chicago Bear right now, I don't think that there would be there would just be the Poles poll would be much higher. A lot of people would be a lot more happy with the way Ryan Poles has done. I think the Roquan Smith situation is definitely tampering, or not. It's definitely affecting a lot of people's views so far on Ryan Poles thus far, his tenure with the Chicago Bulls, the Chicago Bears. So Ryan Poles this is going to be a longer term. He's got to get the team back on track, and you need to see consistent, or at least a more consistent production from your offense, because that was the thing. If you were a Chicago Bears fan, if you've been watching Chicago Bears in the last couple of years, which I'm sure all you guys have, you know one thing. The Matt Nagy era was a complete and utter disaster. Maybe it wasn't a complete and utter just because of that first season when you made it to the playoffs. You had a young Mitch Trubisky who was really flashing his potential. You had a great best defense, just such a good defense, scary, intimidating. Every team hated playing the Chicago Bears because of that defense in that season. And it kept going. But then we learned Matt Nagy is stupid, and Matt Nagy is not creative, and Matt Nagy cannot call plays. So that continued to happen, and it just became a complete and utter fail. So what I need to see from the Chicago Bears offense this season is an improvement in every single category. I don't need to see it on a consistent level for 17 straight games, every single snap. If something doesn't go right, bang, drop them. But what I need to see is a more consistent Justin Fields, because we saw plenty of flashes last year. I need to see a more consistent and improved offensive line. I need to see a consistent and improved wide receiver room. And I genuinely think that the Bears have all three of those. I don't think it's going to be at a uber competitive or uber consistent rate that's going to get them into the playoffs. I could see a world where that happens, but I think the probability, if we're being real here, of the Chicago Bears, everything working out and the Bears making the playoffs, it's very low. It's not impossible, but I do think it's low, and I think it's important to set yourself up for that and to have those expectations where don't worry about the record this year. Don't worry about the record. Focus on the production and use your eyes, and just you want more smooth sailing. Right, that's just what we want to see. So being 31st, you got the Seahawks 32nd, you have the Atlanta Falcons 30. These are the three teams that I've really been just cycling in and out of 30 to 32nd in power rankings or in offseason moves or just what have you. But I think the Bears on the defensive side, but more specifically the offensive side with the offensive line, Justin Poles, new receivers, Velus Jones Jr., and then we look at the Bears secondary with Kyler Gordon and Jaquan Brisker, who Jaquan's already impressing a lot of people. They're in a promising spot. You're in a promising spot. So from here on out, let's see some plays being made, and let's see it at a more consistent level. So that's really it for me, man. If you guys enjoyed, hit the like button, hit that subscribe button if you want more Bulls Bro, how many times? I don't even know if I've ever done that on this channel before. Said the Bulls once. I've done it twice in this video. If you guys want more Chicago Bears content, or Bulls, evidently, go ahead and hit that subscribe button. But most importantly, guys, I want you to go ahead, comment down below, power ranking-wise, where would you rank the Chicago Bears heading into this upcoming season? Peace.